so much for coming. We're going to start kind of the formal part of our evening, so I encourage you to, as you finish grabbing your delicious food from Michael's or your drinks from Madison's, to please take a seat. We have a few people here that are here tonight because when we heard we were doing an appreciation, they really wanted to be part of the group that said thank you for all that you do. So I want to start by introducing the Van Wezel's Executive Director, Mary Benzel.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. We're so glad that you're here today. Boy, Kelly's so much shorter than I am. But we're really glad. We had an event like this 2 or 3 years ago, and it was really nice. We had a luncheon, and it was great because we got a chance to exchange ideas and thoughts, and what you think really is a key to us with what programs Kelly books and what we're trying to do, because without your input and without your students, it doesn't matter what we do. And so I started out to be a teacher. I actually got my degree in speech, theater, and English, and then I went on to get my master's degree and go working in the theater full time. But I know what you've gone through, and my best friend is also a teacher. She's retiring at the age of 62 after teaching for 39 years. And yeah, she worked up in Pennsylvania, and she worked with kids with special needs. And she said it's become so much more increasingly difficult to be a teacher since she started out with rules and regulations. And, you know, I'm sure you could talk to that, as well as sometimes since she was up in Pennsylvania, it could also be problems with, you know, behavior and violence and things like that. So we have to just thank you so much. Everybody that's not a teacher, can we give them a hand? So anyway, we started out last week. We put our season on sale, and I'm happy to say that this time versus this time last year, we're $930,000 ahead of this time last year. That's almost $1 million. You know, I'm sorry, math teachers. I know it's not really almost, but I'll say it is. But we're going to have some enormous hits this year. Jersey Boys. We just looked. It's over 3,500 tickets more than this time of Les Miserables. And so I think that's exciting. And we have a lot of great shows. We start out in October with Peter Frampton and Lyle Lovett and Martina McBride. And our gala this year is going to be announced shortly. And if it's who I think it is, it's somebody that has something deeply to do with education. And if that happens, we're going to try to reach out and see what we can do with including education even more in the gala. But Monica would kill me if I told you because it's not firm, so. But anyway, we have a great season. I would be glad to take care of any of your ticket orders, anything you would like. If you can't get a ticket to a show, call Kelly. We always hold some back, and the first people we should be worrying about is you, our teachers, because you do so much for us. Without you, it doesn't matter. And Marlon was saying out on the television how, you know, people have really took up the banner about education in the gubernatorial race. Well, you know, and everybody's claiming the other person did more, this one did a terrible job. And, you know, I just think education has to be supported any way we can. I always say I'm really selfish about it, because if a kid doesn't go to the ballet, the opera, the theater when they're younger, they're not coming when they're older, especially to tougher art forms, opera and dance, because those are the ones that, at least with theater, they can see it on the television and they have a sense. So I just have to applaud Lori White and everything you've done to keep the arts involved. And I also have heard Kelly's fantastic stories of how teachers that are trying to teach math and science, one girl sticks out in mind. She could not make it in math. She couldn't do it. But when they started to use arts integration, it changed it all for her, and it made it clear, and suddenly she was participating, and she was thrilled with herself that she could understand. And as someone that got a D in math as a junior, because I was in the top class, and then I got a B when they moved me to a secondary class, I can tell you when it's that hard, it really can upset a kid so much, a student so much. And so I thank my teachers for reaching out and changing that for me. And now I'm in charge of all sorts of numbers. So Marlon's sitting over there being really worried. But I don't use calculus, Marlon, in my day-to-day numbers, so there you go. and I do have a computer. But anyway, again, my deepest, deepest thanks. There's a lot of family programming this year on the main stage as well as school time. Jack Hanna was so fantastic with the kids. He brings all the animals. He only agreed to stay for a half an hour to meet with the kids, and then he had to go, and I couldn't get him out of here with an hour and a half. Of course, we have Christmas Carol. We have all sorts of Broadway shows that would be great for the families, for teenagers. Peter and the Starcatcher is something that's amazing. I'm so thrilled Alvin Ailey is going to come and work with the schools and do a school time show again, because they were spectacular. And I'm going to try to see if I can get Audra McDonald, our 6-time Tony Award winner, to do a master class. So if there's an idea you have, we did try to arrange something with, I think it was Pilobolus last year. We'll do our best to try it. We can't always get it to happen, but we will sure try. And one of the real important things to me are the two ladies I want to introduce you to that have supported education in the Van Wezel. Susan Atwell, our commissioner, has any event we have, she's come, she buys tickets, she comes to the gala. She's one of the nicest people, and she works so very hard. And I just want you to know what a dear friend she has been to education and the arts, and I mean that. And Suzanne's going to come up next. And then there's Monica Van Buskirk and her staff. Where are you guys? There they are. And they work and Sandra Dietrich, who's on the board, sitting next to Monica. And Sandy, you know, whenever we have, if we have a show where we have a kids' night on Broadway, and we didn't feel we had enough food for the party, Sandy would buy these enormous cakes for all the kids, and she never once asked for a thank you, but I'm going to thank you, Sandy, because you've been great. And so Monica has raised so much money that all the kids get to come for free on the buses. We're also working with her right now to see about providing some extra dollars so that Title I schools can come, because no kid should be left behind. And I know that's somebody else's slogan, but but I believe it's a very true one. So Suzanne, if you'd just join us for a second.
I have notes because you're worth it. Can you hear me? So tall. How's that? Thank you so much, Mary. I tell you, it's an honor to be here this evening. It's an extraordinary venue. Every time I come to the Van Wezel, it's art. I don't care what goes on here. Well, it could be anything. It's art. It's all about art. We're here, and I'm very excited to honor extraordinary educators who, all of you have the minds, you have the hearts, and you have the creative spirits. And you have those spirits, and you capture them in our youth, and they are in your care. I remember, Mary, I don't know the date exactly, but remember when we were at Marina Jack's and we were meeting with the folks from the Kennedy Center? Yes. That's when Any Given Child began, and I was mayor at the time, so it was really a thrill to sit there and hope that we get that. And we're one of the communities that was part of that. So that has come to fruition, and it's been very, very exciting. What was great about it, that I was sitting there seeing in real time what can happen. Too many things we do, especially in my office, you don't always see them in real time. We vote on something and it might happen in 5 years, and I won't be in office or whatever. So you hope that you can get something that's going to be meaningful within a few months. In my previous life here in Sarasota, I was a psychotherapist. And I realized that art as an expressive medium, boy, does it help with communication, alleviating stress, and aids in exploring many, many aspects of our lives. This is the creative spirit, and it belongs in our schools. To the teachers, the administrators, the curriculum specialists, thank you, thank you. Thank you for all your work in expanding arts education in our county, in Manatee County. You are the leaders, you're the champions by taking the often historically sporadic, piecemeal art programs that have been in our schools and gave them a place at the table. You have also leveled the playing field by promoting access, equity as a fundamental notion of success. So thank you all. I am very proud to live in a community that is this commitment to education and the powerful role that art plays in it. So thank you and have a great time tonight.
I first want to tell you, I used to be tall and wear high heels, but when I started this job, it's so exciting I'm in flats because I'm running up and down the stairs and trying to catch Mary, who is even faster than I am and doing a terrific job. So I thank you very much for coming tonight. The mission for the Van Wezel is to enrich the lives of children. And to be brief, I will tell you I am passionate, and I use that word passionate, about the children coming and about Title I schools. Everyone should have an opportunity to come here. I've had many parents say to me, my first experience going to the theater was coming to the Van Wezel. So when I sit with donors, I try to paint a picture of the importance of education. The Van Wezel Foundation is proud to, since its inception in 1986, to have given over $11 million to the hall. We're proud of that. We just want to do better to provide more children to come. So I thank you very much. It's brief, I have no notes, and I'm trying to be tall. Thank you.
If you didn't notice, I did wear heels to try and make it a little bit better, but I'm still the shortest one here. But some of you may have started receiving emails from me and saying, who's this person I don't know? I want to introduce my new name, which is Kelly Maldonado. So if you get an email from Kelly Maldonado, please know that is my new name, and I am still the Director of Education, and very pleased to be able to work with all of you. One of the favorite things in my job is getting the chance to see teachers and see students, and I'm really thrilled to have this opportunity tonight to thank you for all that you do for the students in Sarasota and Manatee County, because we have teachers here that have proven commitment to their students. I do have a few notes because I really wanted to make sure I can thank you in the best way possible and talk to you a little bit about what we're trying to do to be a part of what it is that you're bringing to students. But one thing I don't even really need to go into too much detail about is the importance of the arts, because you've all shown that you know the importance of the arts for your students. But what I can say is I know the lasting benefit of the arts. I remember my very first arts experience was I was in a play when I was in kindergarten. I was the only kindergartner to get a line, and I still remember this line after all those years. And that line is, "That's not a Christmas tree." And there's a reason that I remember that line. It's because that was an experience that stuck with me. And it took me throughout my years and getting ready for college when I was auditioning for Pace University in New York, and I was doing a monologue, doing a soliloquy from As You Like It. And when I was taking my standardized test, and I had to take those in New Jersey as well, where I went to high school, I needed to write an essay talking about the idea of a confidant. And I was so happy because I was able to talk about that in relation to As You Like It. So I remember the importance of the arts and how I use that not just for my love of theater, which has stuck with me my whole life, but also throughout my education and found its way to help me in other subjects. And part of the reason that stuck with me is because I had teachers that knew that it was important too. So I want to thank all of you for bringing that to your students every single day. And I also want to thank you, those are just some of my theater experiences. So I want you to think back to maybe your teachers or your learning, and I'm sure that you can find the same experience. You have that moment that you knew this is why it's important that no matter what subject I'm teaching, the arts are important. And I want you to think about what you learned. And maybe it wasn't just how to do a monologue or what an objective is. Maybe if you're like the students that we worked with in Sarasota and Manatee County, it was measuring as they built a fountain for an installation at Oak Park and Lakeview Elementary School. Maybe it was learning that your peers across town aren't so different from you, whether it was at Robert Willis Elementary and Samoset Elementary through our Classroom Connections program. But there's always something to be learned from the arts, both from the artistic side and in life and education. And I want to thank you for what it is that you do to bring that to students every single day. And, I went all the way back. I don't need to thank you twice. So I want to thank you for your commitment to the arts. I want to thank you for your time, for your creativity, for your engagement, and for making us a partner for those opportunities for your students. And to do that, we've had our commitments as well. And I'm sure some of you know this, but I want to make sure we say again and again, we strive to make this a beneficial experience for your students and try to support you. So we provide study guides, we provide online lessons, we provide recommended reading lists through a partnership with the Sarasota County Libraries. And as many of you know, through the hard work of the Van Wezel Foundation, and only a part of what they do, we have bus subsidies, bus reimbursements for schools that are unable to pay for transportation. We'll provide 1 ticket free and subsidized tickets after every 11 that are purchased. If a school calls me and says we're having trouble figuring out the finances, we will try and work with them to identify places they might be able to apply for funding to help make that possible. And that's something that we will continue to do as we expand our school time performances through our workshops that are offered through all of them, whether it's through the A+ STEM program, where we're trying to integrate science and math more into our lessons, whether it's a science and math show or a book-based show, as well as our literacy activities tied to our school time performances. And you all have a copy of the brochure. I'm just going to quickly say what it is that we're offering, because I want you to think about how we can partner together throughout the season. And that is starting with our very first one, which I'm really excited about, which is Judy Blume's, otherwise known as Sheila the Great. It's a book that I enjoyed reading when I was getting ready for the summer, and we have a wonderful connecting workshop to it, looking at emotion and how we can read the passages from the story and identify emotion and draw cartoons based on that. We have Schoolhouse Rock coming to both Northport high schools so that those South County students can have easy access to the show, as well as here at the Van Wezel. And if you're looking for ways to tie in science and math, we have Let's Go Science show returning to the Van Wezel. And both of those have a content connectors workshop that look at genre and how the game show style can teach different subject areas. We have coming Stella, Queen of the Snow. Now, if you saw the Mermaid Theatre Nova Scotia production of Very Hungry Caterpillar last year, which was one of my absolute favorites, that is the same company that's bringing this show. So it's going to be another beautiful puppet show, and it's a chance for you to bring the snow to your students, something that they maybe wouldn't have had the opportunity to see, and that's what our connecting workshop explores as well. Fly Guy and Other Stories is coming in November. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble keeping it. There he is. That looks at about 5 different children's books through a musical review. And that's another one we're really excited about and looking at story elements in our connecting workshop. The Mayhem Poets are coming back to the Van Wezel, and this, if you are a middle school or high school teacher, is one that I would highly recommend for those age groups. It's going to be a wonderful show, and you can do a poetry workshop with your students tied to it as well. Alvin Alley Dance, as Mary mentioned, is returning to the Van Wezel, and I am really excited. I was not here the last time they had come to the Van Wezel, so I'm thrilled to be able to see them. And you can bring science to your classroom, looking at anatomy and art and what the dancer needs to do with their body to bring the performances to stage. One of the ones I couldn't believe was coming around when I heard that it is The Lightning Thief, coming in April and May. And that's another one that is going to be performed at Northport High School and at the Van Wezel. So we have a lot of access across geographic range for that performance. And we have a workshop about students writing their own myths and modernizing it. So we're very excited about that show. And to round out our season is one that I remember reading growing up with my grandmother. I absolutely love these stories, is Curious George. I'm very excited that we're having Curious George both at Northport High School and at the Van Wezel. And if you want the opportunity to explore monkey stories from different cultures, that's what this workshop that we have connected to it will tie to. You'll look at 3 different monkey stories from 3 different cultures and be able to talk about how monkeys appear across. It ties to social studies, it ties to science. We learn about, one of the stories is a myth about how rocks were formed, so you can learn how rocks were formed. And that's just a quick little snippet about what it is that we're bringing. And I'm always happy to talk more about our shows, to talk more about ideas. We had a master class, as Mary said, with Palabolas last year with Northport High School, was able to do that. And that came from a teacher calling me up and saying, hey, this sounds like something that would be really great for my students. And that's what I encourage you to do. If you see something and you see a way to connect it, give me a call, because I am eager to hear how we can not just say thank you, but be a part of showing thanks to you by supporting you with your ideas and your learning. There's a few people that are in our brochure, in addition to our Inspiration founders who you'll find listed in our brochure. The Women's Exchange and Publix are 2 of our school time performance season sponsors, so I wanted to thank them as well. Thank you. And kind of another big applause also for the Van Wezel Foundation, because we do what we do because of them. And I want to introduce, we have in addition to Monica and Sandra Dietrich, one of our board members, we have Erin Guzzo and we have Michelle Strauss who work with the foundation as well. So thank you for showing your support this evening. So I just want to leave you by thinking back to that arts experience that I kind of mentioned at the beginning. Think what stuck with you. And I want you to think how we can work together to create those moments this year for students. I'm ready to do it. We've started doing it with our professional development with Sarasota County, the Arts Integration League. We have a history with Manatee County with Project Stage, and I'm really looking forward to continuing our work together. And I just want to say again, thank you for all that you do and for your commitment. You all deserve a huge round of applause.
And while Kelly's here, and she sort of didn't mention, she got married this summer, and she married a chef, and I was lucky enough to fly to see the wedding along with another staff person. She was a beautiful bride, a very short bride, but she was a beautiful bride. And we would like to invite you to come up to Kelly or me and tell us if there's a show you would particularly like to see, if there's a book that you would particularly like. We go to conferences. Melanie and I are off to one in September in Atlanta, then we all go to New York. Mm-hmm. And we have to do with what's on tour, but I can also tell you, we can suggest to these folks that make the tours that Florida, which is one of the major states for education in the arts, that they launch a tour of that show. So please, we may think something's good and you may know something totally different. And Kelly is the type of person that would listen to any input and be supportive. So please, any time of the year, just drop us a note. And for those of you that sent in all the drawings, we get such great joy from the drawings your students make, especially the little ones, And it's so important to us that we do this. And then as another thank you, I think Kelly has.
And I didn't get the chance to say thank you again to Michael's for the delicious food that you had this evening. And Madison's for the beer and wine that you're enjoying this evening. When we mentioned that we were doing this teacher appreciation event, they were thrilled to be a part of it. So I want to say everyone appreciates what you all do. So I hope that you all recognize it, and I just encourage you to continue doing all the work that you're doing. Thank you guys very much.
I mean, I think this is a superb, event for appreciating the teachers and what they have done in the schools in terms of integrating art. Some of you may know that, we have pushed the theory of STEM a lot, and now people are talking about STEAM, science, technology, engineering, and now arts and math. So again, this is the most appropriate way to show appreciation for teachers and what they're doing with arts integration, bringing arts into the schoolroom, and teaching our young kids, what culture and art is all about. You teach a kid at a young age to appreciate arts and culture, they will grow up as part of any career appreciating that, going to Broadway shows, going to, different museums, etc. So I think it's important. And, the Van Wezel has always been a strong proponent of introducing arts and the school time programs. And, kudos to, Mary Benson and the staff for what she does. And, we hope that this really, sets a foundation, not only for them, but for their families as well, so that they can take back to their mother, their father, their sisters and brothers about how important art is in terms of their development. It is so appropriate, that question right now, because again, on the state level, each one of the politicians is fighting to see, who has done more for teachers and more for education. And, that's where all of our learning begins, in the classroom. Teachers are not highly recognized. Someone who ends up being a doctor, being a lawyer, being a deputy city manager, you got to learn from somebody in the classroom. And teachers, they are not appreciated for what they do in setting that foundation, giving that base for any young person for what, future career they may hold. So I think this event this evening is just a small token for the appreciation that I think everyone needs to give to teachers and what they do, not only for our community, but for our state and our nation.
Well, first, it's very selfish of me, because without kids going to see the ballet, the opera, and the theater when they're younger, they're not going to come when they're older, because it becomes a very scary and threatening thing. So that's one. The second reason is I started out to be a teacher, so teachers are very dear in my heart. My best friend is a teacher, and it's so important because they do so much, and they have to put in their own money and all of their time, and they're not compensated like movie stars or, even doctors and lawyers. So it's very important. These are the people that form the balance and the beginning of everybody's learning. And so I have to salute a teacher every day for what they do. School time shows, I think, are the most important times for a kid to come and know what theater is and know what the shows are. If you could see them lining up to go in the hall, and they look so adorable and they're so excited, and when we turn the lights out, the noise they make, they're so excited with the noise, with the sound going down. And with a lot of the younger shows, for the younger kids, they really have an interactive portion to it, so it really gets the kids involved. I know myself, I can remember going to the Bucks County Playhouse when I was younger, and that memory has stayed with me my entire life, and it meant so much that I actually got into the career of the arts. And of course, we also are so very involved with the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts with teaching arts integration. That is something that's very important, because we could tell you a lot of touching stories about kids that couldn't learn something, and then when you put it in a concept they understood, it was a whole difference. We've gotten a number of research grants. We've worked with them. They gave us a special grant for students with disabilities last year. We really have an affinity towards the Kennedy Center. They are really a leader for us. And with Any Given Child and all sorts of things, it's been very important to us to keep that relationship going. And we also try through our education program to do a couple of other things that are so important. We have a total access program, and we also have a program for seniors and military. And I will tell you a story, a brief one. I met a lady from our new total access program, which is when we have grants that allow parents to bring their families to see a show here at the Van Wezel, have dinner before of it, and make it a whole event. And I know this is important to the teachers too, because it makes this, if the parents are involved, the students, it makes it a richer experience. And I met a lady last week, and she told me how her son had been an intern at the Players, which is a great organization across the street from us, and now he's in college on a Bill Gates scholarship, and she wanted to have her daughter involved with the arts by coming through our Total Access program, because this has made such a difference in their life. And of course, these programs are for people that work. It's not a welfare program, but it's for people that are working but struggling, who could have never thought they could bring their families to have dinner together at such a beautiful restaurant here, or to see a show, and have a couple of them. And the kids also come out to Friday Fest and work and hand out fans, and they're just so excited. It is very special for me, because I know, if it had been just a little bit different, I would be sitting in that seat that they're in. I would be a senior teacher. I was for high school students, but I know that how important it is and how hard it is to be a teacher. And so to me, they are the heroes of this United States, and they're the bedrock on which we're all growing from. So education is so important. And of course, it's always, somebody always says that because it sounds good and we always think of the kids, but it is so true. And to me, the arts and education go hand in hand. And I am so glad I'm working at a theater that has such a big education program. Well, we're very thrilled about our new season. We went on sale last Saturday, and I can tell you, versus this time last year, we are $900,000 ahead in ticket sales, which is 930, I think, and so that is close to $1 million. So we're thrilled with that. Of course, our lead show is Jersey Boys, which is near and dear to this Jersey girl's heart. But I also, just in October, we have Peter Frampton, and we have Lyle Lovett and Martina McBride, Bill Maher. I mean, Bill Maher and Susan Boyle are already sold out. So, we really love that the community is embracing us. And we also love being out here on this gorgeous waterfront. And we urge anybody that comes to the hall to make use of our outdoor cafe or the kids to have lunch after the shows out here. So we're just very proud to be here as part of this community because this community is different than anyone I've ever worked in regards to its support of the arts.
The most wonderful part of this is our mission is to enrich lives of children. And that is our goal, and it's our fundraising. And I'm proud to say that we've sent over 25,000 children to the Van Wezel on an annual basis. And as I talked about previously, I'm very passionate about Title I schools and Manatee because of the, if I may say, we want to be sure our students can come. First of all, we know the statistics on arts and how arts at a very young age focuses the children and enhances them. But all you have to do is look out my window or come downstairs when those buses pull in, and those babies, I call them babies, are so adorable, they're so excited, they're all dressed up, and we really give them a great event here, and they remember it all their lives.
Once I tell them what the Van Wezel does for the community and how we give back in our programs through the school time performance program and the military programs, senior access, community outreach, and all the other wonderful things that we do for the community, they don't hesitate to donate because everybody has someone in their life, whether it's a friend, a relative that's had an experience with the arts enhancing their lives. So it's difficult, but it's not so terribly difficult.
The gala has grown over 12, 13 years to be, I would say, the pinnacle last year with Jay Leno here on his first night after he ended his career, and it was a fabulous evening. We've had Jerry Seinfeld, we've had Sheryl Crow, we've had so many famous people over the years. That money goes 100% to the children in our children's program. And Boar's Head is a big sponsor of ours. They've stood shoulder to shoulder with us these last 5 years. We're not going to announce tonight who's coming, but we're going to announce it in the next few days, and it is exciting. And that's, maybe I can have Erin Guzzo, our head of marketing, talk about that.
Well, we're planning a few events to introduce people to all the things that the foundation does. I have been there 2 months now, so go easy on me with the questions. But
you have to appreciate working with such a great
I
team.
do. I'm proud and honored to be part of such a wonderful group of people, and I look forward to seeing the school time performances this year and seeing the children, and it's very rewarding.
I feel very strongly that the teachers are unsung heroes, and nationally, this is something we feel they should make more money, have an easier life because they're so critical to our lives. Education is key. So I'd like to see more of this, not less of it.
They can contact the Van Wezel Foundation. The website is www.vanwezelfoundation.org, or they can call our offices at 941-366-5578. And they can ask, how can we help? There's plenty of ways they can help, whether they want to donate, whether they want to get involved in our gala, whether they want to become a member of the foundation. There's lots of ways to help. And I have to tell you, If you ever come to a school time performance program and you see the theater filled with 1,750 children sitting there and the lights go down and the curtain comes up and you hear them screaming at the top of your lungs, every hair on your body stands up and your heart just pounds because they're so excited. It really changes the children. It really does. It's amazing.
I have to commend you and METV because you do the same thing. I've been associated with the Van Wezel for over 11 years, and I have to tell you, I started as a volunteer. So volunteer your time I then became a donor, and then I became put on the board of directors, and I'm here as the president now. I reach out to you because we need volunteers and people who are committed to the children. And thank you for tonight.
Well, I very much appreciate the recognition, not just for the school district of Manatee County, but for all of the teachers in the Sarasota and Manatee area. It's an opportunity for us to see what's coming up in this season and to see what sort of content connections we can make, not just specific to the arts, but also to science, math, reading, writing, and other areas. They have a really exciting program, and it's great to have an opportunity to learn a little more about it. Well, learning isn't happen in a vacuum, so we're always looking to make connections across content areas. We certainly want to focus on science, technology, engineering, and math, but when you add the A and turn STEM into STEAM, then you have this connection with arts integration. And that tends to be very motivating to students, very engaging. Students get very enthusiastic about their learning when you add the arts into the other content areas.
Students, they just blossom when you actually add arts into some of the core curriculum subjects. I was a Project Stage member a few years back, and I utilized the things we learned and added it to my music class. And because of the cross-curricular connections, everything just fell into place. They love it. They get so excited. And you say the word Van Wezel, and they just... The purple building, it's the purple building. And they love what they're going to come see. They love the venue. They just get very, very, very excited about it.
Well, I think it's important for young people to experience as many different aspects of life as possible, including, of course, performances like the ones that they offer here at Van Wezel. When you get that spark of interest at a young age, it tends to carry on. I know Van Wezel makes an effort to make sure that they have programs from the preschool age children all the way up through high school and into adulthood. And in addition to the performances that they also have these workshops where we can bring teaching artists into the classroom and they can work with the students to help them make some connections with some of the other content areas and have them better understand exactly what it is that they'll see at the performance. Absolutely, and it becomes hands-on. So the teaching artists are there really to get the kids engaged and to draw them in. So they might be writing their own poetry or practice moving their body or studying the muscles of the body that they'll see the dancers then exhibit in their performances. So it's really exciting to get the teaching artists into the classroom in addition to bringing the students to the performances. You know, it's really hard for me to decide. I mean, there's a lot of variety in the performances, and they all interest me in one way or another. Allison mentioned Alvin Ailey. Absolutely. Dance theater would be very exciting. But personally, I'm a Schoolhouse Rock fan. When I was a kid, every Saturday morning, we watched Schoolhouse Rock. I loved the music. I loved the lessons that we learned about the other content areas. So that's probably the performance I'm most excited about.
Alvin Ailey, hands down. No contest, Alvin Ailey. We saw it a couple of years ago with a different group of kids, and they asked for the soundtrack all year. It was amazing.
My name's Angela Hart-Vigson, and I'm the Fine Arts Program Specialist for the Sarasota County School District. This is a wonderful event. Teachers love to be appreciated, and they deserve every bit of it. And it just solidifies that incredible connection that the Van Wezel has with our schools and with our teachers, students, and principals. Well, we'll see it in our STEM programs that are now becoming STEAM. We'll see the arts integrated across all curricular areas, and I think it's extremely important because now with our Florida standards, the opportunities reappear to really look at things from all different perspectives and embedding visual art options in how a student looks at something, to have students look at a piece of choreography and compare it with the book it's based on. Those are incredible opportunities for that deeper critical thinking and learning. And then also we know that arts integration just makes learning more engaging, more entertaining, and it really helps students retain it for their possible method. They're fantastic. They bring books to life for kids. They allow them to get a first taste of live theater, of live dance, all of those things. I have 2 sons that are in the Sarasota County schools, and they've been coming to school time performances through their whole career. And I hear about each and every one, and they always have a smile on their face, and they remember those books, those performances better than they might something that wasn't brought to life for them. Well, as I've been talking with people and hearing people say, Alvin Ailey is always an incredible one. I mean, they're just always right there. My sons have been very big Lightning Thief fans. So Percy Jackson and those books will be interesting. My older son may even want to come, if we could figure out a way. And the Mayhem Poets, I think, sounds like a really neat one, especially the way it will impact our older students. So those are 3 of my favorites. We work to incorporate the arts across all of our curriculum because it does, as I said, bring everything to life. It makes new. We work to incorporate the arts across all of our curriculum because it does, as I said, bring everything to life. It makes new meaning for students and new connections. And the Van Wezel's been with us every step of the way with our arts integration professional development training for teachers. They're a partner with us in that, and they continue to be. We're also working with Any Given Child in that effort now, and we're really seeing it spread, and we're seeing teachers become revitalized in their excitement about education through this new method, new for some and a way of life for others. And I think it means so much to our kids in our district.
And that wouldn't be possible without the teachers, through the professional development, through bringing their students here, through tying it to their curriculum. So this was our chance to say thank you to them and make sure they knew we recognized all of their hard work. We recognize that teachers are faced with needing to teach their curriculum and needing to make sure their students are prepared for what they need to learn. And we recognize that the arts can be a vital part of that, but we want to make sure that we're partnering with them to bring what they really need into their classroom and how we can really enhance and integrate what they're already doing in their classroom. And that's why we wanted to get a chance to speak with people tonight, to thank them tonight, because we've been able to partner together in such a strong way. We try and bring something for everyone when we're bringing some school time performances to the Van Wezel. We want to reach across grade levels, make sure whether it's a kindergartner through a high school student that there's something that they can enjoy, that there's something that ties into their curriculum. We want to make sure whether it's literature or science or social studies that there is a content area that would be beneficial for those students. And that's really the number one thing that we think about. I talk to teachers before I go and try and pick the shows to find out where their interests lie and if there are titles that they're interested in. And that's really what we hope to do with the teachers. We're really excited. I can't wait to get to see Stella, Queen of the Snow, and The Lightning Thief. There's a lot coming that I think ties in from classic literature, classic art forms like dance, through to modern favorites that students have read on their own time and are getting the opportunity to see how it connects to their school time life as well. We want the community to know that the Van Wezel has a commitment to arts and arts education, and that we have a thriving partnership with teachers and students in Sarasota and Manatee counties, and we look forward to that for years to come, and are always looking for community members to be a part of that, whether it's volunteer. Our volunteer ushers are a huge part of that, making school time performances possible, whether it's connecting with the Van Wezel Foundation and bringing arts experiences to students that wouldn't have that opportunity. We're always looking for people that want to help make the arts possible in our schools.